What's good, everybody? Here's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. Dima, ass whooping music. So, man, you know I gotta tread lightly on this one, because my man Jim Jones is a gangster, and I don't want to get my ass whooped like Freddie Gibbs, so I gotta be cool, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to Jim Jones, you know, Dipset, Cameron Mays, Harlem World. You know, I really like those guys. And my man Jim Jones, you know, he's still finding a way to be relevant, you know, even though Jadakiss, you know, and the Locks whipped that ass on that Versus. But he was recently on a podcast with some other sisters, and he was talking about with Angela Yee and some other ladies about his mom, right? And his mother had him at age 17, when she was quite young. And let me just say this before I play the clip. A lot of people in the black community are grew up around African Americans or Caribbeans, depending on what part you are from New York. You know, our families, especially if you have single parents, are kind of broken up homes. Your parents tend to be a lot closer to you than, you know, the standard traditional family, right? And especially younger parents. So Angela Yee, was asking him about his experience with his mom, telling him about sex and about kissing and all that stuff. But you know what? I'll let him tell it better than I can, and then I'll come back and then we'll weigh in on what he had to say.
What did your mom tell you about sex when you were young?
She told me everything about sex.
Like what?
My first condoms, shit like that. My mom told me how to kiss when I was younger.
What did she tell you to do?
She told me how to tongue kiss when I was younger.
Like what's the instructions?
It wasn't no instructions. She showed me with her mouth. Like she
kissed you?
It's my mother.
No, I'm just okay.
I love it.
My parents barely kissed me on the cheek.
No,
so
my mom
just stopped kissing my son on the mouth.
She showed me how to tongue kiss when I was younger. Remember, my mom was 17. She's a baby. Look at all the babies that's having babies now.
Sure.
And look how they act with their babies. It's like they have a little sister or a little brother more than they have.
Did you think tongue kissing was nasty at first? Because the first time somebody tried to tongue kiss me, I thought it was so disgusting.
The first time I tongue kissed a girl, yeah.
I was like, oh, you
my mom's, it didn't faze me. The first time I tongue kissed a girl, I was blown. I was so pissed off. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
But it also depends how sloppy somebody kisses you too, right? Because that could be a turn off.
I think that's what it was.
If they bad at
like
kissing.
12,
yeah, see, that's interesting because nobody taught me anything about it and I didn't know what it was. And this guy, like, he was my little boyfriend and we used to just kiss on the cheek. And then one day he just stuck his tongue in my mouth and I didn't know what it was or what was happening. And I was like, oh my God, like, what is he fucking doing?
So you heard what he had to say, okay? Now, I just want to say this. Jim Jones has tried to come back out and say that this was just a joke. He didn't mean it. But, you know, like Jim Jones, like he means the stuff. Like the same way he meant it when he was checking Kendra G about his relationship. I believe that this is absolutely true because he tried to convince her when Angela Yee was pushing back, like, oh, you know, that's a little bit weird. But he was like, you know what, my mom was a young woman at the time. She was only 17. And, you know, they grew up together pretty much. A young 17-year-old mother. And we've seen that with certain NBA players, not to say that they were kissing their moms, but, you know, like Allen Iverson, his mom was like 15 when she had him. LeBron James' mom. These young ladies grow up with their kids together. But there's another element that we're not talking about right now, and that's the kind of son-husband Oedipus complex type thing that happens in the black community, all right? And I'm not saying that, you know, he ended up messing with his mom like that. I don't believe that was going on. But a lot of ladies in the black community, especially some of these families from the dysfunctional neighborhoods, they look at their sons in a husband kind of way. And it's not necessarily sexually, but there is that sort of provider thing that they look long-term from these young black men. And when you look at a lot of these NBA players and you look at these rappers and you look at a lot of these guys that come from these dysfunctional homes, look at how they treat women. I just want you to look at that. Because a lot of times black men get a lot of, animosity from their relationships with black women. But I just want you to see the one consistent woman that's typically in their life, not for all black men, but for some of these guys, you know, these entertainers and, you know, some of these athletes. the only woman that they kind of really respect typically is their mom, right? And their mom is typically their first for everything, their first real love. But then, there's that element of, for some people, kind of freaky sex thing kind of going on. Kind of some weird attraction, not necessarily sex, but, like teaching your son about sex, which is not a problem, but teaching you how to French kiss and how to do that kind of stuff. That kind of thing happens in Black America. It's just, if it was a black man and doing it with his daughter, you would see a lot of problems with that. But with the mother, we can defend it. Oh, she was only 17. Think about, I'm a 17-year-old father and I'm teaching my daughter how to French kiss. You're going to want to throw me underneath the jail, right? But it's the mother teaching him how to French kiss. Well, look at what's going on then. And how has Jim Jones interacted with ladies his whole entire life? I mean, never married anybody, he does have a relationship, but a lot of that disruption in how to get along with black women or get along with women in the black community, a lot of times that emanates from the mother and son's relationship, okay? And a lot of times what a lot of young black men see is their mother coming in and out of the house with a different guy, their mother using them as a personal attack dog against the other guy, and it's like, you're gonna be my husband for the rest of my life. You're obligated to love me. If I can't find anybody else to love me in a romantic way, if I can't find anybody else to love me in a special way, you as a son are responsible for me. And this is how a lot of guys are traumatized. And if you listen to what Jim Jones is saying, he is a traumatized black man. Okay? And then you let these black men go out in the streets and I hate to say this, for some of you young black women out there, I feel sorry for you, because you have to go out there and deal with situations like this with people that are already messed up. And the same thing with black men that come from, they got to deal with some of our traumatized sisters out here. And this is why on this channel, I try to be so passionate about the black community with the Celebrity Junk, because we are people that need help, okay? We can justify the dysfunction in our community by just, trying to defend our parents who probably themselves were molested or probably themselves had problems. And that just dysfunction just carries on. We need to understand when we're dealing with our people, where we are coming from. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why a lot of black men like Jim Jones don't want to talk about these things, because look at how he got ridiculed. He shared something personal about his life, and now he's embarrassed and got to take it back because black men don't have anywhere to talk to. Nobody wants to listen to them. So when they have these embarrassing things that happen to them or their family did to them, like, oh, they were molested or they were kissed on or whatever, they don't want to talk about it because the world make fun of you. It wasn't his fault his mom told him how to get a tongue kiss, and it's unfair to him because a lot of these black men want you to talk about these things to somebody, but you in a podcast, and you probably don't even think nothing of it at the time. Like, yo, I'm just gonna say this. I thought this was normal. A lot of black men think that things like this are normal. A lot of you guys who comment on my channel every day, something like this is weird as happened to you, and you think it's normal. The same thing like with Kodak Black. Some of you brothers thought that was, real foul about him grabbing his mama booty, but some of y'all thought that was normal. It's a normal thing. And a lot of black men, when you find out that, oh shoot, this ain't normal behavior. Oh, damn, well, let me take that back, man. I was just playing. And we just have a lot of problems, right, with our black men. This is the reason why black men have to be able to come out, talk about their issues, preferably around other men, preferably not being judged for those things, so that black men can heal. Black men have to be healed to have better relationships with the women in the community, with other people in the community. Because you're not going to be able to get anywhere where brothers have issues like this and they got to keep it, tied in because they feel that somebody's going to talk about them or somebody's going to make fun of them. And that's why I'm not going to make fun of him right now, because it wasn't his fault. His mother made a mistake, was 17. We don't know how she grew up, what experiences or trauma that she was facing. A 17-year-old lady talking to her son about, condoms and all this other stuff. I mean, when he got older, that's a little off. When she was 17, she was 34. She was still a young woman. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe with the bell. Check the first comment at the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at all-time high. I'm out.